When the kid wakes up, his world's still in pieces, just the way you left it. The marshals would have been downright jealous. And that's everything. Mother knows he's paid his dues in that forge. It's hard to sleep easy these days, what with everything that's happened. Zolf, very soon the kid's gonna have to face that man again, for the last time. They met on the worst day of Zolf's life. There in the Hanging Gardens, he aimed to throw it all away. It wasn't the first time Zolf had nothing to lose. He was born to a simple Ura couple who didn't last long before plague took him. He grew up hungry in the tunnels of the Tassel terminals, so he took to stealing from a Ceylonian missionary living there. He once got sloppy with his thieving hands. The missionary caught him, but didn't rat him out. Instead, he offered to take him in. That missionary raised Zolf like a gentleman, like it was his own son. Taught him theology, history, and mercy. When the missionary passed away, Zolf promised to continue his work to bring about a lasting peace between the Ura and Ceylondia. It's all right. Zolf started teaching the missionaries wisdom to any Ura who would listen. And listen they did. He advocated tolerance and argued that the Ura should atone for the war. He believed the city had much to teach his people. However, Zolf felt he could only do so much in the Tassel terminals. He needed Caelondia to know the Ura had changed. He decided to do what the missionary did many years before. He left the city of his youth to brave a savage land. The journey was hard, but he knew how to fend for himself. And then at last, Zolf saw the rippling walls on the horizon. He endeared himself to city folk straight away, and in turn he fell in love with the city and its people. One in particular. This young lady was fascinated by the Ura, but she never met anyone like Zolf. She told him she knew all the city's best-kept secrets. The Hanging Gardens was their favorite spot. It was there that Zolf clasped her hands and proposed in proper Caelondian style. He celebrated with his friends long into the night. Joy and revelry like he'd never seen. Too bad he couldn't remember it all. That story don't end well anyway. The calamity took everything from us. Might be it took even more from Zolf. met on the worst day of Zulf's life. There in the Hanging Gardens, he aimed to throw it all away. It wasn't the first time Zulf had nothing to lose. He was born to a simple Ura couple who didn't last long before plague took him. He grew up hungry in the tunnels of the Tassel terminals, so he took to stealing from a Ceylonian missionary living there. He once got sloppy with his thieving hands. The missionary caught him, but didn't rat him out. Instead, he offered to take him in. That missionary raised Zulf like a gentleman, like it was his own son. Taught him theology, history, and mercy. When the missionary passed away, Zulf promised to continue his work to bring about a lasting peace between the Ura and Ceylondia. Zulf started teaching the missionaries wisdom to any Ura who would listen. And listen they did. He advocated tolerance and argued that the Ura should atone for the war. He believed the city had much to teach his people. However, Zulf felt he could only do so much in the Tassel terminals. He needed Ceylondia to know the Ura had changed. decided to do what the missionary did many years before. He left the city of his youth to brave a savage land. The journey was hard, but he knew how to fend for himself. And then at last, Zolf saw the rippling walls on the horizon. He endeared himself to city folk straight away, and in turn he fell in love with the city and its people. One in particular. This young lady was fascinated by the Ura, but she never met anyone like Zolf. She told him she knew all the city's best-kept secrets. The Hanging Gardens was their favorite spot. It was there that Zolf clasped her hands and proposed in proper Ceylandian style. He celebrated with his friends long into the night. Joy and revelry like he'd never seen. Too bad he couldn't remember it all. He woke up alone underground inside the Ura Ceylandian War Memorial, built like an Ura den. But something was wrong. emerged from that hole in the ground into a waking nightmare. Everything that wasn't gone was twisted upside down. The world was frozen, air thick with ash. What few faces he saw on the street stared back at him with gray and vacant eyes. Found his wife-to-be asleep inside her home, but when he reached out to her, she joined with all the ashes in the sky. And so Zolf returned to where he proposed in the Hanging Gardens, and there he stood, as if the gods would answer him. The kid's gonna be okay. As for that man, who knows? Never would have pegged the kid as the bookish type. You don't get to be my age without learning a thing or two about what's what. But the most valuable lessons come early in life. I ain't much for worldly things, though all these years I've held on to a stash of old books from when I was young. There's one old book in particular I still like to read from time to time. It covers the important things, in a manner of speaking. Here we go. A is for Kobe, the goddess of oath and abandon. Make a promise, and the chastened maid will hold you to it. He's faster than a fork of lightning, and his aim is always true. If news needs spreading, tell it to a breaker. C is for core, a perfect bit of stone found deep underground. It makes the city shine day and night. Is there anything it can't do? D is for dread rum, a potent spirit brewed from a foul-smelling plant that grows in the wilds. One taste will sharpen your senses. E is for evacuation. In an emergency, stay calm, leave your belongings, and make your way to the nearest safe haven. F is for foundation, a solid plot of land for building anything you can imagine. Even grand ideas start small. G is for Garmuth, the god of purpose and folly. The crippled Duke reminds us that good intentions are nothing on their own. H is for Hensa, goddess of pain and pleasure. You can't have one without the other. The veiled widow makes sure of it. I is for In Case of Trouble, a song grown famous across the land, dedicated to the pioneering spirit of Caelondia. J is for Javel, the god of health and atrophy. We each have the Tower Keeper's strength in us, until that strength runs out. K is for kid, a guy or gal just like you. Don't be in such a hurry to grow up, since there's nothing a kid can't do. L is for Lemaine, the god of hope and despair. The Mason King knows that success and failure are all in the mind. M is for Messiah, our goddess of loss and longing. We all are born from the Lorn Mother, and in the end, we all return to her. N is for Nordy, the bird boy, who's always there to bring a smile at the Hanging Gardens, thanks to his feathered friends. O is for Alec, our young god of chance and whim. The carefree son lives forever in the moment. The rest of us can only try. wakeful bull is calm. Let's all do our part to keep him that way. Is for Queen Anne, the notorious ankle gator from the wilds. She can even dig her way into rotten children's dreams. R is for Rothus, the god of thirst and plenty. The gorging host reminds us to always know when we've had enough. S is for Scumbag, a big lumpy old fellow who sidles about. He loves eating trash. Just be sure to keep a healthy distance from him. T is for Trigger, the army's sharpest shooter. Take pride in Caelandia's mounted soldiers. They risk it all to keep us safe. U is for Ura, our pale neighbors to the east, whose homes are underground. Each day we learn to live in harmony. V is for Vigil, an act in remembrance. The sacrifices of our forefathers gave us a new beginning here in Caelandia. W is for Weepin' Nellie, the Langston River's fastest little ferry barge. We couldn't have crossed that river without her help. X is for nothing. Stranger's letter in the mix. Yet even the stranger's letter has its use, as you couldn't have a mailbox without one. Y is for you, Drake, the god of impulse and bravery. Each time the morning stallion stamps his hoof, somebody out there makes up his mind. Z is for Zolwood, a tough old plant whose gourds make great target practice. Whatever you do, don't eat 'em. The end. There's nothing after Z. Used to be one more page in here, though, before somebody tore it out. Know what it said? Still with me? The last page of this book was about the author. Didn't say much, but the imagination has a way of filling in the gaps. Everybody starts small, then some of us work our way up, I suppose. I can't hear him at all anymore. He's too far away. But he'll be alright. The Calamity hit the Tazzle terminals hardest of all. You know why Zolf back there. All his old friends and family were there. Zolf must be there all alone, just waiting. You know what's funny? Look around. There's not much left to do here at the Bastion, I'm afraid. So why not tell each other stories to pass the time, right? When the kid brings back that shard, the Bastion will be complete. Caelondia will be whole again. Problem is, we'll all be gone. Oh, we're not gonna die. It's more like all of this will just stop. Things will go back to the way they used to be. That's the power of the Bastion. This whole place is a living record of the times before the Calamity. The way things were before this story. You'd be your old self again. You think of all those times that didn't go your way. Little setbacks. Imagine if you could have another go at them. No mistakes. Anyone you've ever heard. Everything you've ever done, you could do it over. And wouldn't that be grand? Well, I guess there's nothing more to say. Who am I kidding? Look. There's something else. A confession. come I know so much about the Bastion? Well, I designed the place, but that's beside the point. There's one problem with a place that sets things back to a bygone time. You can't test it. So you're probably wondering, if the calamity happened already, what's to stop it from happening again after the Bastion does its thing? The answer is... I don't know. You're wondering if there ain't some other way out of this mess. It's all right. I can tell. But why would you even want another way? Unless you wanted to stay here with us. Well, that's sweet and all, but I don't know if I can stick around. The weight of the calamity, it's on our shoulders. We can't just let it go. Bastion does have another function, strictly speaking. If ever the monument blew out and we couldn't repair it, we could still evacuate. First, we'd round up as many folks as we could carry. Next, we'd detonate the cores, and we'd take off away from here. You know Zolf and his countrymen won't be giving up that shard without a fight, don't you? Zolf and the Ura, all they want now is to see the Bastion fall. Zolf dedicated his life to a lasting peace between the Ura and Zealandia. He can't have imagined the city would try to wipe the Ura out. Zolf ain't lost every shred of decency though, has he? He tried to warn you about his plans. He tried to warn the kid. For Zolf, this ain't a personal matter. It ain't a simple matter of pride either. One thing's for sure, the Ura can't be happy that the kid followed Zolf all the way home. I can see it now. The kid in one corner, and Zolf in the other. Ain't much of a fight. Don't you worry, though. Once the Bastion's restored, it'll all be alright. Although, after talking it over like this, guess I'm beginning to have my doubts.
I set my sail, fly, the wind it will take me back to my home, sweet home. Lie on my back, clouds are making way for me. I'm coming home, sweet home. I see your star, you left it burning for me. Mother, I'm here. Eyes open wide.
Kid's probably dealt with Zolf by now.
Feel your heart and it's glowing.
He reminds me of myself when I was his age. I ever tell you about those days? Hey, kid. Get up, kid. Come on, that ain't funny. I say get up. That's more like it. Now, set that shard into the monument there. Then we'll talk. The Bastion. It's finally finished. Now, there's something I want you to see. Welcome to the heart of the Bastion. I ain't one for long goodbyes, so here's the deal. Zia and I figure you done the heavy lifting, so you get to do the honors. We can tell you how to work this thing if you got any questions. You can undo the calamity here and now. Go on, kid. And before I forget, thank you. Always wondered what the motherland was like. Not that it matters anymore. Zolf only brought more ruin to the Ura. No wonder they didn't take kindly to him. You've got one thing left to do, so you hang on to that badge. Besides, you earned it. Don't let anything you've done get to you. You can save all those creatures here and now.
We made it. So, let's see. You can either prevent the calamity, or stick around with me and Rex. I'd hate to be in your shoes. If I could be any place I wanted, I'd stay right here. We could go anywhere in the world. Zolf tried to talk me into joining him. I tried to talk him out of it. I guess we both failed. When I finally found my people, I told them we could help. They just took me for a traitor. Glad you showed up. Any moment I'd want to live again happened after the calamity, not before. Ready to get this over with?
figured you'd had enough of me by now. You could have undone the calamity itself, but instead you want to stay in a world like this. I gotta admit, kid, I ain't yet put much thought in that idea of carrying on with you here. We can't go back no more, but I suppose we could go wherever we please. And if anyone's left out there, I sure would like to see the look on their faces when we dock this thing right on that doorstep. Getting ahead of myself, though. I'm gonna need a first mate. What do you say?
I set my sail, fly the wind, it will take me back to my home, sweet home. Lie on my back, clouds are making way for me. I'm coming home, sweet home. I see your star, you lifted throne for me. Brother, I'm here too long. Eyes open wide, I feel your heart, it's growing. One day that one is gonna fall, sweet home. I take your hand, now you'll never be alone. One day your bird is gonna fly, sweet home. I see your star, you lifted throne for me. Brother, I'm here too long.